Hello, sorry about that. Was busy talking to a coworker. I didn't want to say anything explicit. That's not for my channel. Definitely don't want to get in trouble like that. But anyway, like I was saying, it's kind of difficult dating in our I will say for me, it's difficult dating sometimes. Um, you know, it's kind of hard to follow somebody. Like you could tell if they like you or not. You could tell if they're interested in you, if they just want to be with you. But because of the way we text at times and we don't like spell out our words, we just use, especially from the people that I used to text all the time, they don't take the time. So it's like, okay. But anyway, he was just like, you just went in a MIA. And I was like, I literally texted him. So I said, well, dang, I got things to do. I said, I'm not going to chase anybody to get their attention, to speak and try to do stuff. If you want something, you're going to have to show me that you're interested. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to hang out and then come to find out you just blow me off. Now, if it comes because you have to do something with your son, I can understand that because it's your son. So I just again was getting frustrated because of the fact that it's almost like it's a double standard because if it was the other way around and if I had children, they'd be like, I guess you just, you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes men are easier to, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but I feel like sometimes depending on, like, in my opinion, from what I've observed, they want you to be so compassionate when it comes down to their side, but it's like, are you interested in me or not? And then it's like so many red flags sometimes. Like I remember one time I was dating somebody, and he was like, you know, he wouldn't even let me get a word in, and I was just like, so how is this gonna work if we're interested in each other? Like you're not even taking consideration. We're out going somewhere. We was like, let's just stop at a gas station and get something to drink. So we was just walking up the street, and that was cool. I didn't really care because I knew that we were gonna be like going back and just chilling, watching TV, and that's it. So we walk up to the gas station, and he just sees somebody he hasn't seen in a while, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, but let's take in consideration it's cold outside. I don't really want to be out here that long. So I um he's just talking for an hour and an hour and an hour. After a while, I'm just like, like a few minutes away from just going inside the gas station and just sitting there for a second. But it also goes with the type of guys that you like. When you get older, you start realizing the stuff that you tolerated when you were like, you know, 18, 19, that stuff is crazy. And what makes it weird is now that I'm older, why are 18, 19-year-olds trying to talk to me? And I'm like, I've been 18 and 19 before. And then you'll have people in the comments that'll be like, oh, age ain't nothing but a number. And I'm like, well, it's not that much of a difference, but I don't really, for me, I don't want to be older than the guy. That's just my personal preference because I feel like it's gonna be some Looney Tune stuff. Like you're not gonna take what I have to say seriously, and I'm definitely not gonna take what you say seriously because I'm just gonna think this whole entire time I'm with a kid. Because to me, you 18 compared to how old I am, to me you are a kid because you haven't done anything. I mean, I remember when I was 18, I was still trying to figure out what school I was going to go to. I didn't finish college, but I end up later on in life deciding to go back. So it's like, oh my god. I remember starting school and then clowning, not making the best grades, and then getting my CNA license, and then after that realizing CNA is okay, but it's not gonna pay your bills forever. If you want more in life, you're gonna have to get up and get you an education. So once I realized what I really wanted in life, then I put myself back in school. I had family members supporting me and helping me put myself back in school. So it's like, when you go through those periods, you kind of just want to just fix you first. So I just was looking at him like those days of chasing is over. Like if you're interested in me, you're interested in me. If you're not, you're not. And I'm not gonna be upset if you're not. But don't get mad at me if I'm not sitting there. I'm not gonna be waiting on the phone like I used to, waiting and seeing what you gonna say. That's what you do when you're in high school. That's what you do when you're in middle school and you like somebody waiting all the time. Don't nobody got time to wait. We got things to do, deadlines to make. And if you're a parent on top of that, you should know that better than anybody. You got to be on top of stuff. So I'm not upset or frustrated, but it just made me, and I was wondering, it it made me feel some type of way. But then it also makes you wonder: are you messing with your baby mama? Because you want me to talk to you, but how do I know you're not talking to her still? How do I know she don't still have feelings for you? Because I've seen a lot of people that I used to talk to that would still be involved with their baby mamas. And it's just like, dang, I can't compete with this because you're not going to let her go. It looks like it. It's one thing if you're just talking to that person because you're dealing with a child. But if you still like fooling with them, ain't no way you going to be fooling with me. No, I'm cool. And then another thing, if you don't know somebody, how do y'all feel about folks asking for money and you just meet them? Like, that's weird. Like, if I think about it, I think the only time somebody, but that was because I was on a date and they paid for something for me. And then after that, they were like, oh, well, we can hang out, but do you have cash or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I got cash. But if you keep changing where you're going to be, it's going to be hard for me to go get at the time because I wasn't, I didn't have a car. So it's going to be hard for me to like get a Lyft driver if you keep changing the location. So because that person kept doing that, it's like it made it hard for me. And then you already know it's going to be a cancellation fee. So that's another charge on your card. And it's like, what are you, it's not worth it. It's not to be stood up and then you're spending your money. And I'm not saying the guy should always pay. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is if you end up doing something else that we didn't plan to do, but you want to do something, you can't get mad at me if you say, well, we could hang out, but because I'm not expecting to spend I'm not expecting to spending. I am not expecting to spend. I'm sorry, I was getting tongue tied. I am not expecting you to spend every single time if we hang out, but don't expect me to do the other. That's all I'm saying. So. And then I'll get folks that'll say, then why are we even over here? Because there's more things to do than just Netflix and chill. Come up with stuff. That's the thing that I'm saying. I should not be the one coming up with the ideas all the time. I get it if I'm doing it sometimes. But if I'm the one always saying, hey, let's go to this restaurant and sit down and talk, and just, even if it's just for get some soda and talk, or be on the phone and talk. What's wrong with that? But for me, I just don't want to date nobody that's 18 and I'm like in my mid 20s. Like, no, because it's not. I don't have nothing in common with you. You probably just got out of high school, even though that was a few years for me, and it wasn't that long ago. But still, I mean, like I've already been through that. I'm trying to do something that I haven't done before. So when you try to, and then it's weird because trying to talk to somebody that's like either 2 years older than you, it's like you don't know the chances of you getting somebody that may have a kid or may not have a kid. So it's one of those variables. So yeah, I was talking to that with my mom because she was talking about dating too. So I was like, it's one of those things. But what I was trying to say earlier before I got cut off was the fact that some people they will say stuff and it'll be weird because you're just trying to understand where they're coming from on social media, whatever platform that you're on, whether it be TikTok or Instagram. And it's almost like you can't say nothing because everybody's just so freaking sensitive. Like I said in my last video, Sorry. It's just crazy. Ooh, sorry. It's just crazy. You could comment something and they would just be like, "Oh, my sinuses are killing me, y'all. I'm sorry." Um, whew. It just be crazy. Sometimes what people don't understand is when you trying to do stuff and you have things to do, um, you shouldn't have to wait for somebody if you're interested. So that's the end of that conversation about, talking about somebody. But now I'm just going to talk about, you know, stuff that I usually see. But it's gone to the part where people can't say anything anymore. So like I think personally, when it comes down to church services, they really don't need to be videotaped anymore, unless it's somebody with a camera from the church and they're live streaming, because it's to the point where people are taking folks' messages, taking snippets of those messages, and then getting on TikTok, commenting about it, knowing that they don't have any relationship. Like some of these folks, I don't know if they have a relationship with God or not. And I don't really want to be bothered with somebody misinterpreting something. If you don't understand something, that's one thing. But it's to the point where we're almost worshiping people. We could be talking about an artist. They'll be worshiping an artist mad because somebody's speaking out against them. And then when it comes down to somebody else, it's like, oh, well, this is stuff that y'all be doing in y'all churches. Like we don't know this, like it ain't nothing new. Can we stop pretending like people in church are perfect? Can we stop pretending like, well, people don't, I mean, I've even said over here, I grew up in church. There's a lot of stuff that I've seen that, shocked me, but I ain't about to be sitting there posting it all the time. There was probably like one time I posted service because it was so anointed. And that's the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now it's almost like we go to church and we be critiquing people. Where is it okay to critique somebody at church that you don't even know? Ultimately, you're there to hear the word of God. Why just take a snippet? Or, oh, you don't like something that somebody said. Like, it's okay if somebody doesn't like the same thing that you don't like. It's okay if somebody just doesn't agree. Like when I was talking about that pastor that was rebuking people for wanting Beyonce tickets. That was her opinion. She had a right to say whatever she wanted to say. It was towards her congregation. Here come everybody in the DMs. But what about that tattoo on her arm? So people can't have a past. People can't have a past before that. There have been pastors before even I was born that said harsher stuff than that. That was just somebody basically saying, how can you say you're saved and you like Beyonce? That was all she was saying. Did I agree with it or not? I didn't really care because I just saw her talking to her congregation. That wasn't a point for everybody to just get on Instagram and TikTok and say, well, this person can't be putting people in heaven or hell. She's not putting people in a heaven or hell. It's just you can't serve two gods. That's all she's saying. That's with any pastor. Most pastors. You know what I'm saying? You can have good experiences, you can have bad experiences with church. It is what it is. But it's what you want to do. It's what you allow in your life at the end of the day. And because I grew up saved, I've said stuff on here that even I even had to say, you know what, that wasn't right. How can you call yourself saving? You speaking in tongues 1 minute and then you saying a bad word the next minute. So anybody is privy to making mistakes. That's what some folk need to really get in their mind. If you're going to sit there and get on your For You page and talk about a person and all this other stuff that you think that's going on, think about all the mistakes that you make too. Because you're not perfect either. Just because somebody catches it on camera, there's stuff that folks do without the camera and people were doing before the cameras. So just because You catch them on camera don't mean that your stuff is not any more different than what a person is that just got caught on camera, because it is what it is. People really be thinking that they perfect out in these out in the open, or out in these streets, or however you want to put it, but it's stupid. Ultimately, it's up to you. Do you want to be saved, or do you not? That's your opinion if you want to do that or not. But I just know because I grew up in church. So do I still go? Yeah, when I have time to. But that don't mean I'm not saved just because I can't go every Sunday. I still have a relationship with him. But it's to the point where it's like we just get on medias just to critique people, and it's just stupid. But, um that's what it is though. So, but yeah. Um I just know for me, I can't focus on what other people do. I could just focus on what I do at the end of the day. Um, I can only focus on what is important and what's not important. And to me, like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm not chasing nobody. And that's what I wanted that guy to understand, that if you like me, show a little interest, but I'm not going to be aggressive like I have been in the past, trying to force somebody to do anything. But I'm not going to, I could check up on you, but if you don't respond, I'm not going to keep doing it though. But yeah. Mm, let me see something. I'm sorry, I just got quiet. But yeah, it's one of those things. One more thing before I go. I feel like, in my opinion, probably life would have been a whole lot better had certain social medias never been created. Because it's gotten to the point where people, you can't do anything to people. You can't please people. That's one thing we can't do on this world. But it's like the bullying nowadays is like getting to the point where it's like, you really don't need to be bullying somebody you don't know. It's just that. If you don't like something, just let that be you in your miserable life. Let other people enjoy themselves. Like, been bullied before in my life, not fun. But it's to the point where when you're an adult and you're doing this stuff, where are your goals at? Like, for real. Where do you find the time to be wanting to irritate a person? You should be focusing on your life. Once you are past like 20 something, you should be focusing on life. What am I going to do for the next day? Like, you shouldn't be worrying about what somebody else is thinking about you. And that's why I said, you know what? I'm going to turn off my notifications, because I said Instagram is so freaking toxic. It's ridiculous. But if you say something back, then they're quick to block you. Ain't that something? When you defend yourself, oh, let's be appropriate in the comments. But you're not going to just see that this person might have said something homophobic. You're not going to get that person for saying something racist. Little stuff like that. Um, yeah. Stuff that I find interesting. So, literally, almost the only platform that I'm really going to be dealing with is YouTube, because you can watch videos. You don't really have to read the comments. You can read the comments if you want to. You can comment if you don't want to. It is what it is. But it's whatever. Yeah, it's crazy, but I will post another video probably later. I don't really know what particular day, but I'm just going to be saying a few things. And yeah, I'm going to try to make sure my videos are not as long because I realize the longer your videos are, everybody's really not going to have time to watch it. You might have a few people watching it, but not everybody's going to be watching it. But I'm still learning this platform. Even though it's been out for so long, being a YouTube person, I've never been a YouTube person. So I just thought, let's just be fun and play off of stuff. Let's just say some things. So I might have another video soon. I just don't know when. I just have to find a way, find a day, something. I don't know. So yeah, I will be back. This has been another episode of SMS News Channel, and I will be back with more probably by the end of the week. So you guys enjoy your morning.